welcome to UK Versus, bringing you theories, news and more, win, lose or draw. Today we're going deep into the infestation of shard bugs with the brand new set 3, Infestation, and this is a complete kind of tone shift for shard bugs in terms of the lore of the set. But I am joined by Mythos, part of the shard bug team, here to answer all my questions around Infestation, the set, the lore, and just anything I've kind of got off the top of my head. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing well. How are you?
It's a bit late here, but I'm doing well. Brief introduction from yourself. What is it you do for Shardbug?
So I am the VP of development. I'm the lead game designer. What I do is myself and the team, we coordinate the theme of the set, mechanics, the design of the cards, the rules, all of that good stuff. It's really the entire team, but I kind of orchestrate it and direct it, and myself and another dev design all the cards.
That's really cool because there are some very cool cards within these three sets. We've had the beginnings, the kind of adaptation of the bugs to their new existence. We've had the first bounty where we've seen the kind of evolution of the society. And then we've got Infestation, or as it's known in the set, World War Bug. Not only the game, but the lore has kind of had to evolve. From a lore standpoint, what is it that caused this world war to actually happen?
Just to take a step back for a second, the beginning, just to clarify for people that might be newer to shard bugs, it's kind of a snapshot of a time, a general time in the future, in the world of shard bugs. You have, these champions for the factions, for example, that are established and they are, champions like Morgana and Jophiel and Mabwa. Whereas the first bounty was more of a kind of an origin story. It's more focused on Dave Swiftfoot, how he kind of gets his abilities and his power, so to speak, and then he starts his journey into becoming a mercenary for hire. Essentially, stumbles upon his first village and gets his first contract, and kind of goes from there. You fast forward to set 3, Infestation, and it's earlier on in the lives of some of these champions, kind of more when they were just soldiers aspiring for larger roles in their faction. Like Morgana and Jophiel are just prominent figures. They're not really in charge of people, so to speak. And Mabwa has just essentially committed regicide. He ousts the former head of the Meteor clan, and from there he takes over, and his lust for power, he basically aligns himself with Rinfaf, who's kind of just his own titan, so to speak, and they have similar disdain for Garku, who was the previous leader, and together they decide to bring war to Sol and Luna, as they encroach on their lands, and they want to spread their rule over the region.
Oh, so set 3 timeline wise is more
More like set 2 in the
yeah.
timeline.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was on my list of questions to ask. Was there's no Dave within set 3, and I was wondering, was he a casualty or what? No, he's just somewhere else in the world doing his own thing whilst this is going down.
Kind of building his prestige.
Tone wise, like I said, this is more the champions Morgana and Malba building up with their prestige, and they're trying to get there. We're seeing more cards in line with things like the signature kind of spells, like the Lunar Eclipse and the Solar Storm, which are perfectly designed to target the other factions. It's almost kind of like a new way to kind of play the game, because in set 1 and set 2, Sol did devotion things. Luna was about board control, keeping things keeping things rested, not allowing them to re-ready up and keeping them dizzy. And Mars was like, "You don't get anything on your field. I'm just gonna burn it all and slowly build up."
Right.
But in set three, we're seeing Solar becoming more aggressive. Like it's almost like a crusade for them. We're seeing Luna burning devotion in order to deal damage, taking a play from the Mars book, and we're seeing Mars coming in with this more. Well, I do need some devotion, but I will very quickly burn it to get rid of anything that's in my way. So
Right.
it's
Yeah. I mean, all's fair in love and war, right? So Soul, they're kind of they're a proud faction. They're like I kind of when Lewis and I were originally kind of designing the factions and stuff with the beginning. It was always kind of like the like Soul were almost like the high elves in like Tolkien type high fantasy. They were, beautiful. They cared about their appearance. They were honorable, arrogant and proud. And in set three, they're kind of like the Spartans, right? They're a bit more aggressive. They're still defensive, but they're more combat oriented. Luna, they're desperate. Luna doesn't have the numbers that Soul and the Solar Alliance and the Meteor Alliances have. They are kind of split down the middle, where you have a little fanaticism with the leeches and stuff. They're almost like cultish, where they devoting to Luna and their own religious type fanaticism. And then on the other side of that, you have the scientists who are all about development. We have the robots and the mechanized units that they're basically developing to kind of fill that void. Since they do have the smaller numbers, they are trying to develop technology and weapons and things like that to defend themselves.
when I was opening my boxes and taking a look at the battle bundle, uh, the way I kind of saw it was Solar going for this run and gun style attack formation of we're going to hit you, but we're also utilizing this retreating to the hive mechanic, which is now kind of coming to more of a focus in Infestation. Solar have really adopted this as a core mechanic of their combat style, almost like you said with the Spartan thing of send out the combat troops and then retreat those in, send out the fresh warriors, and kind of like recycle it. Yeah, not recycling, but keeping this chain of bringing them back in, putting them back out, bringing them back in, and getting the benefits from it. Whereas
Right.
Luna has gone more guerrilla tactics. They've gone aerial domination, camouflage, hiding in the shadows, going, "You're not touching me until I'm ready to be touched," kind of thing. And then
Right. Yeah. It's more about kind of stick and move, right? The more intentional combat and devoting, as opposed to just going wide. You'll notice as well, like Luna, they don't produce the tokens like larva tokens quite like Meteor and Solar do. Solar, they have a lot of defensive buffs. They want to make a bunch of tokens and kind of use them as fodder, for the greater good. And you'll notice Meteor, they're making tokens. They are utilizing Swarm to spam units on the field. They're just Fury. They're really heavy with Fury, more offensive but combat, as opposed to necessarily just removal like we've seen in previous sets.
yeah, it's no longer about can I remove that from your board. It's more a case of we're coming for your face kind of aspect.
Right,
Where
right. Keep you down, and we'll get some of our heavy hitters devoting in the background. You have like Mobwa, who's got a 3 devotion, and being able to stack keywords and utilize Swarm where you're getting units cheap. Fury, you don't need to necessarily attack with as many units because they're getting those buffs. Traditionally Mars. They don't usually have like the big devoters, say like Soul or Luna do. but they make up for it in aggression and removal.
Yeah, Mars has always kind of been the control symbol in not in the more traditional sense, more in the controlling what your opponent has on their board. They've not really been trying
Right.
to gain their devotion or keep you off devotion in their actions. It's more we're just going to punch you in the face and get rid of anything we don't like. And like I said,
Right.
in Infestation, Solar has adapted the lava tokens as cannon fodder. They sit there, they go, they've got the supports. They go, you can have some extra defense, defend our devotion. Whereas Mars has almost adapted the Wumbo Wagons approach of, oh, lava token, here's a small knife, go get that guy over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sets are designed like months or years in advance of the actual meta. Do you think Infestation is going to cause a big shake-up to the Shardbugs meta?
That's the hope. I mean, that's the intention with any set that we design. Um, you don't want the game to stagnate and just become redundant. So, each set we try to expand on the things that people like, and then we also try to add new things that we think that they'll like. That way, maybe you're a diehard solar player, and you want to kind of keep to the more traditional solar builds. That's great. You've got some reinforcements, but maybe you want to expand on different strategies, different bug types or classes, things like that. Then we've allowed it to put some um, new interesting archetypes for each faction. So with that, I think there's a lot more options now. We do tend to have smaller sets. We are an indie, we are a new game, new company. So we want to play it smart. We're not trying to print 400 card sets and go outside our means, at the detriment of the game. So we're very intentional with what we put in the sets. We're always working sets ahead. I mean, we're on set 5 right now. We just wrapped up set 4. Set 3 just came out. I mean, we're always working ahead, and listening to the community so that they can have these things that they want, and they can have new things that they're asking for. Um, the game exists for people to have fun and to enjoy what we're doing, and we enjoy doing it. I mean, we'd be crazy not to listen to the players, because if we just did what we wanted, not what they wanted, I mean, we're not going to be, in business very long. So
No, I
I,
mean,
I, I hope people are enjoying set 3, and they're liking some of the new strategies and things that we've implemented.
yeah, I mean, like you said, it. You guys are a small company. You do listen to the community. You're very active in the discords. You're very active with the local game stores. I mean, you're very active at conventions. You've got a 2K event going on at Gen Con. You've got other events going on up and down the US. You've just partnered with a store to get Spanish versions of cards out. This is it seems like you're getting a lot of traction in terms of just Infestation in itself. It's not only that it's introduced all new stuff, it's kind of given lifeblood to some other strategies that were less played. Like, I cannot remember the name of the actual bug, but there's the cosmic rare that lets you gain devotion for each of your tokens, which I thought was really cool. But I was like, it's not really seen support, and now you got all these lava tokens that you can produce really quickly. I'm like, oh, let's
Right.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. Joe Fiel was Lewis's design. Back it was probably in the first handful of cards we designed, and it was something that Lewis had always wanted to do. And it's a fan favorite. People love that card, and in a casual setting, it's really fun. It doesn't see a ton of play in the competitive scene, but I I I think there's a case for it these days. With just the sheer amount of token support that Solar has. I mean, whether it's ants or larva or something in the future. I mean, Joe Fiel, you've got invigorating breeze, cards like that. I mean, you exhaust it, gain 6, 7, 8,
Yeah,
and do some funny shenanigans with invigorating breeze, or giving it aggro, things like that. I mean, there's a lot of a lot of fun stuff that you can do, and people are figuring it out and they're seeing it, and there's some lines of play that we the devs are kind of like, man, surprised nobody's figured this out or done this yet, and so it's always exciting to see when they do, and then people are like, oh good lord, like I'm cramming this into my deck now, and so don't sleep on some of the older cards because there's a lot of really neat synergies that are still being discovered.
Yeah, Infestation's the kind of TCG set I absolutely love. You've not really introduced anything new. You've not gone, oh, here's a new keyword, here's a new mechanic. You've taken what you've already built. You've taken the pre-existing mechanics and gone, okay, here's a new token type, but this a part of our game, this retreat, this going from the field to the hive. We're gonna actually focus on this and give you a new, make it matter a little bit more, give you new ways to interact with it, and because of this, everything else in the game has got a little bit deeper because you now have to figure out a bit more. You've kind of taken the game and turned it 90 degrees a little bit by adding a lot more depth to existing abilities as well as showing people new ways to play those abilities, whilst also, like I said, giving Sol their devotion mechanics, giving Mars their beetle and their aggression, keeping them in line with what their core concept is, but going, but here's also a cheeky way you can play them. Like, there's a lot of moth support in Infestation for Luna, and with all the camouflage, you kind of just going, I'm going to keep your board not readying up, and I'm just going to keep sitting here and devoting with my untouchable boys.
Well, not totally untouchable, but yeah, there's it gets players thinking. They have to get a little a little creative with their local meta is. We did want to improve on pre-existing cards and archetypes, like I said, and also introduce new things. So if somebody's been around since the beginning, or they even just started with set 2 or even 3, I mean, there's a lot of fun stuff to find, and even going back to picking up maybe some precons from set 1 or set 2. There's a lot of good stuff in there you can utilize in the meta and combine with set 3 cards. People are starting to bring back cards that we didn't really see a lot. We haven't seen a lot of play since we only had set 1. Set 2 came out, meta shifted, and then some of those older cards, like Rusty Nail, for example. I'm seeing, like, at locals and in events, like Rusty Nail, coming back, and Bring the Doom being more prevalent, things like that. And I mean, those are set 1 cards. So, and when set 4 comes out, there's going to be even more great stuff. I mean, that the goal is for us to constantly one up ourselves and give people stuff to be excited for and look forward to, and keep the game fresh and exciting. And whether you like to open product and you like that experience, or you're a collector or you're a player, I mean, we understand that gamers come in all forms, and we want to try to cater to everybody that we can.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Infestation does something perfectly because you want to keep the meta shifting, you want to keep it flowing, and if you just put out a set and it goes, oh cool, I can take 6 of these cards and put it in my deck to make it better. That's pretty cool, but what you're seeing with the Sharbugs, from what you're saying, is people going, we've got all these brand new cards, and now all these other cards that I hadn't really played with in set 1 have become a lot more relevant. So I get to test and play and experiment with all these cards that were there before that people might not be expecting to actually see play. That's really cool, and a good sign that, like, everything's kind of gelling and molding. The battle bundles this time. One of my big, like, when I was looking at the precons, one of the things was, I was like, there's no learn to play aspect. You get the cards, but there's, like, you're not really ready to play because you don't know how to play. But the battle bundles this time, you get the 3 decks, and you get a paper playmat. You get a learn to play booklet. You get a count up devotion dice, which is absolutely gorgeous with that kind of yellow and purple swirls within it, and it's an absolute massive improvement. Is that something you've kind of been working towards?
I mean, the team as a whole, yes, but like I can't even pretend to take any credit for that kind of stuff. I mean, our production team, especially Jeeps, our production manager, the VP of production, he's incredible. That guy's brain, I want to dissect it one day because the stuff he comes up with is incredible. And then you have Kundu Del Castillo, our art director, doing all the packaging and everything. Just, I mean, it's beautiful. It fits the the theme and aesthetic that we're going for. WJPC doing the physical production of it does an incredible job, and they're great to work with. Um, I mean, all of the factors are there. Lewis, too fluent, being the big boss man. I mean, he made an incredible team, and he's I mean, he's the boss, and he's successful for a reason. He's doing a great job. I mean, everybody on the team really has input on everything, and that's one of the things is we we all kind of have our lanes, so to speak, where we have things that we're proficient in, and we specialize in. But at the end of the day, like we have meetings, we come together, we do quality checks together, we brainstorm together. Um, Brighton, uh, Tayflow, Bucky, all those guys. Jay Cyber doing all the website and the motion comic, like we all have feedback on various things, and I think that we're all doing a great job, and I'm really happy with it, and I'm glad that there's people out there like you wanting to make content and think that we're doing a good enough job to spend your time on it. So I appreciate it.
It's great. I mean, the events I've been to and the like I've got when I've gone to stores, I've always taken my shadbugs. I mean, people have immediately been like, "What is this?" The cards look absolutely amazing. The content I'm putting out, people are. I get the comments I get are like the how good the battle bundles look. The fact you get the alt art characters with them, so people even collect like people collecting Infestation kind of like ticks all the boxes because you've got the interconnected art for the secret rares, which I didn't know about. But then on Facebook, someone in the Facebook group, Alan, posted going, "Oh yeah, they all connect." I'm like, I have 3 of them. I now need to find 6 more so I can have all of them together. Because you kind of get hit by that thing of I absolutely just it. Infestation's really really cool. Uh, I won't keep you too much longer because it will be going a while. But there's one other thing I wanted to talk about, and that is pop culture references. There is a lot of pop culture references within Shardbugs.
There are, and some are not very obvious. You've really got to dig on some of those.
I like some of the. I mean, you got your obvious ones like the Super Soldier Serum with "I Can Do This All Day." Clearly, a Captain America homage. You've got. I can't remember the actual name because I've just been calling them Wormies.
Memphis.
Amethyst the Airborne, which has got
A Memphis,
yes. Which has got Hermes on the boot, so that's why I call them Wormies. But you've also got the I Believe I Can Fly, so that's a twofer.
Yeah, and the funny thing is so everything, all of the bugs are designed after real life insects. I mean, there's so many out there in the world. Like what a great thing to make a game about. But if you look up a Mythos, that's part of its scientific name. There's these worms, they call them jumping worms, are their nickname. And essentially what they do is to avoid their predators like birds and stuff is they wiggle and like they kind of flick their tails so they jump. So I thought it would be hilarious to have a worm that flies because he jumps, he gets airborne. And literally that's kind of how the process unfolds. And then we all kind of talk about it, and and then when you have these incredible artists like Zip Draw and Nelly and Alisi and Uniente and all, like, I mean, I have too many artists to name for the video, but like we have an incredible art team, and taking these weird wacky ideas out of our brain and then turning them into what you guys see and hold and play with. We couldn't be happier. They've done a great job. So
100%. I mean, you got. I assume Wormbo Baggins is Bilbo Baggins. One of the
I don't
cool
know what you're talking about.
One of the cool ones through was the plasma pillar, which reminded me of a Mad Hatter caterpillar, like the ones that have the preceding bumps out their heads. Because I saw it, I was like, that's really cool. What if that actually exists? Like, yeah, there's a caterpillar that grows its old heads on top of its new head. It's like, oh, that's a plasma pillar right there. Boom.
So there's these really cool videos on like Instagram and YouTube and stuff called Behind the Bug that uh, Bright Entomology does, and what he does is he's an actual entomologist. Here in Florida, and he breaks down cards, as to what their real world counterparts are, and he gives you a little insight to the card. So it's pretty cool. We enjoy those videos, and people DMing us and theory crafting and stuff, and trying to figure out what everything is. So we have a lot of fun with it. We try to be engaging with our community and stuff, and again, we do like the pop culture references and the homage cards and things, and
Yeah.
it's just like a big hangout session with friends is what we kind of aim for. So
Yeah, and you briefly mentioned earlier, like, you work with the amazing artists, and there's too many to mention, but you do actively mention them because they're all featured on the booster packs that you put out. Every artist that works on the booster packs is referenced on the booster packs on the back, so you know exactly who's been working on it. That's so
absolutely.
cool. That's so absolutely amazing that they get just.
So, and let me be clear too. Nothing that we do is AI. We support our artists 150%. Without the artists, there is no game, because the game could play incredible. It could be the most fun game, but like let's be honest. If the card quality isn't good, the cards don't look cool with great artwork, nobody's going to play it. They're just words on a piece of cardboard otherwise. So we feel like the artists should be, front and center, and should get their flowers, so to speak. Like, they deserve to be praised. They're incredible artists, but they're incredible people. Um, we have a healthy portion of our artists reside in Mexico, and we have a very strong um, community that is beginning to build in Mexico. So shout out to Mexico, and we appreciate all the support and all the kind messages. Um, but yeah, we're growing. We're trying to infest the planet. We want to be in every country. We've got stores and people in Australia and France and England and Germany. We've got Canada, Mexico. People all over the place have been trying to get it, and Lewis he listens to everybody. And there is a potential here in the future where Shardbugs is in other languages. We want to be accessible to everybody, and I think that that's a good place to start.
Yeah, I mean, it makes a lot of sense, and you're not really going to run out of material anytime soon because there's so many different kind of bugs, and there's new ones being discovered all the time. So you've got
Right.
a very sustainable business model in terms of your cards, which is perfect. But yeah, it's one of those things that I've always believed that if you're passionate about something and you put that passion into your work, it pays off. And I try to put all my passion into my content, and I hope it comes across. And with Shardbugs, the artists, the organized play, the design of the cards, like you said, with Two Flute and everything else going on, every single person I've talked to in the company and in the community is so overly passionate. It kind of overflows, and it's why, like, people like myself and other people come to the card game, because when you're passionate about something, you draw other people in with it because they want to see what you're so passionate about. And it's so very cool to see the community run leagues every month that you update on what's being played, how people playing. You make sure people support the TTS table, which is up to allow people to have access to the cards no matter where they are. Keep practicing, keep building. It all you've got. The company has an entire kind of like community first driven approach, and you're doing it in such a very smart way. You're building up the community, you're building up the local stores. You are attending the events. You are attending Gen Con, and you're doing like the PP Pro Tours, like 1-2Ks. But whenever I like talk about the expansions and what you guys are looking for, it's always local store focused. It's not, oh, we want to do big tournaments. I didn't even know there was a world until like you guys mentioned it as part of the organized play thing. Because every time I talk, it's
Right.
like, no, we just want it in. We want it in stores. We want communities built in stores, and I think that's such a good and refreshing attitude to see from a company.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the acknowledgement on that. That's something that we've tried to really drive home is, if you don't have a community, right, you don't have players, you don't have revenue to keep the lights on and keep it going. um, and we've seen a lot of incredible games come out, over the past even few years. I've been playing TCGs and CCGs since 1994. I started playing Magic and Revised. Like I've been around, the gaming scene for a long time. I've worked on other projects. I've done some consulting. Um, and the unfortunate side of this is sometimes you can have the greatest game, the greatest team, but maybe they're not, business savvy, or there's some stumbles and missteps, and they try to scale too fast. And if you start off with, we're just going to spread this, game globally or all over the country, and not really develop like a kind of a home base, or a place to anchor the game and the player base. I mean, yeah, it's great you may be in 250 game stores, but if you've got two or three people at, you know 50% of those, and the other 50% there's no local players, you may come out with a set or two and then it dies. Well, what we've tried to do, and why Lewis has been so great, is we kind of took a page out of Flesh and Blood's playbook as far as growth. They're based out of New Zealand, and they focused New Zealand first. They wanted to build out a community, have roots, and have a steady player base with like an anchor, or a foundation, so that they could scale and then spread outward. Because even as you're investing time and resources, money, and all of that, in your outward expansion, um, the core, the foundation at home can drive sales and resources to keep you going. And that's what we've tried to do in Florida. We have an incredible game scene in the state of Florida as a whole. Magic, Flesh and Blood, Lorcana, Cookie Run, Sorcery. All of these games do very well here, and us being locals here, why wouldn't we invest in our community here at home? And we've got a healthy group that travel from event to event. We got people that go from like Miami to Orlando to Tampa. They've even gone to our out of state events, Texas and Maryland and other places. So the idea was to develop that foundation at home, and then we can scale properly. And now we've spread across the U.S., and now we're starting to get into other countries.
Similar to an actual bug infestation, you've found a crack in the wall.
Right.
And eventually, even if like you get termites in the attic, eventually they make their way downstairs.
Right. I love the analogies, by the way. It's fantastic. Good job.
No, I mean
Termites are a problem in Florida. Trust me.
yeah. So it's absolutely cool. I mean, I'm doing my part over here. I'm messaging stars. I know I'm trying to push it to get more people here. Everyone I've demoed for, everyone's kind of loved this game. I've seen people interacting with my content and talking with me, saying how much they love how cool, like the look of the cards alone bring people in. And then when they actually sit down and play the game, they find out how interactive and fun the game is. It's not the kind of game where you're gonna get turn toed out of nowhere. Just like I said, it's not the kind of game where you sat while your opponent plays solitaire. There's a lot of back and forth. There's a lot of this game could go either way, and there's a lot of, like you said, expansion in the meta because even if someone is playing Lunar Moths one time, they could come across a beat up a Roach's Mars, and they go, oh, I need units down. And you're like, yep, you don't get units down. It's the game has so much variety to it. It's really well done, and yeah, like every aspect of it. Like you've got the pop culture reference. Every card I read is like, oh, okay, I get that, I get that. There's something for everyone in there, and that's why I wanted to kind of like have the chat about Infestation because I went through set one and set two. I looked at the comics. It was a really good Infestation. Like the comic was a good lore drop, but opening Infestation, it felt like a complete different beast. Like you guys had not found your stride, but you were building momentum. Like at this point, you'd seen where you want the game to go, and this was the first time that the game had gone from like uh, embarrassing story for me. When I last time I was in Florida, I left my jacket in a Denny's, and I thought I'm going to cut over the grass. Never cut over the grass in Florida. I went straight down into like a mud pit, and it's kind of that aspect where I feel the game's like, oh, everything's nice and even, and then you get Infestation's like whoosh, you're gone. This
Well,
must.
I mean, it being Florida, I mean, you gotta watch your footing. So the ants down here, the red fighter ants, they'll definitely swarm and aggro and focus your body parts and however many keywords I can throw into this this corny correlation here, but yeah, Florida's a good place to be if you're making a game about bugs. We've got a lot of them here. We've got some, we're in a subtropical climate, so we've got a lot of, crazy, venomous, poisonous things and bitey, stingy things and a lot of beautiful things. So, um, yeah, we're having a great time doing this, and I'm glad that there's people out there, that love it as much as we do. I mean, we all have families and other jobs and stuff where we're not in this because we're like trying to get rich or anything. Like we want to be able to let it self-sustain and just have fun with it because we're gamers first. Like um we regularly get together. Like I get together with my friends and stuff and local players here every Saturday. We run locals. Like I'm a player too, and I'm always trying to keep my ears open and listen to everybody and their concerns or their wants or their even the critique. We're not asking everybody to kiss our feet and tell us that everything is great. Like we understand that we may make mistakes or something didn't come out as great as we wanted. I mean, we're a very small team. We're six people. um we're trying. I mean, that's all I can say is we try really hard, and we will always do the best we can and try to make everybody proud, and hopefully they continue to enjoy it for years to come.
Not too many games out there would be able to just go, oh yeah, just chuck a bunch of pop culture references in there. But it's like if you sat around with your friends having fun, going, oh, we're doing a worm that can jump. Yeah, it's great. Let's make it an R. Kelly reference. Why not?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things too that it's not uncommon for us to be at an event or a convention or even just like our locals, just doing draft or playing casual, and somebody just nickname a card or come up with like a funny pun or something, and we're like, you know what, it'd be a cool card, and just have those like aha moments where it just happens organically. We don't have a bunch of you know um literary professionals sitting around a table with computers and graphs and charts saying like, what does the market research say that people would be drawn to and this and that. We just do what we think is fun and what we think is funny and goofy, and most of the team all have kids, and so if any of the viewers out there have kids, they'll understand what I'm talking about. They come up with the funniest, most off the wall things when you least expect it. And I think we all draw a lot of inspiration from that. I mean, the idea for the game, Lewis's oldest daughter, it came from her, and he was like, let's make this a game. Like, it's just like an organic, fun, casual thing, but we're treating it like it's a high end professional thing, right? We want to ensure that it has legs and it continues to do well, um, so that we can just keep enjoying it. I mean, if it turned into something where I could do it full time and not work, I mean, cool. If
Yeah,
not, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I have a career that I enjoy, so
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, like I said, it sounds like a passion project. Like I said, you're not sat around going, "Oh, let's data scrape Reddit and find out people's favorite bugs and how we can make them
right.
powerful." It's more a case of, we have lava tokens. We have a dung beetle. If we shake the dung beetle, the lava tokens will fall out. Yeah, print it. Let's go.
Yeah, uh,
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love that.
yeah, that was my reveal, and I was like, yeah, that's so very cool. This That's the kind of thing you can tell. Like I said, you can tell you guys are having fun with it, but you're giving it the respect it deserves as a card game. You're not. It's a fine line to walk, like you said, between having fun and doing something you love for the sake of it, but also wanting it to be successful. You could quite easily just make, like, as a player, you could make overpowered cards that you want to play, but instead you're going, what does the community need? What does the game need? And
Right.
you're making it fun but professional. And like you said, if you could get to the point where you could make it your full time job, that's really cool. But if not, it gets to be a passion project.
I need to do the best job possible because I don't want this to end. Um,
Yeah, mate.
so yeah, I
Yeah,
mean that's just kind of where I'm at. But ultimately, I just want to have fun.
yeah,
Life's too short.
exactly. So set four. Are we going to keep going this deep, darker route following on after World War Bug, or are we going to be following another aspect of the bug world?
Um, so our goal is to make shard bugs a really lore rich, um, massive scale, right? Um, so I think you're going to see, more named characters, more backstory, more progression, just a culmination of all the things. Now it's already been revealed that the next set is called Terraform, and that will introduce a new faction. So it'll be the Green faction, led by Terra.
Ooh.
So it's like a Earth nature faction. That dwells amongst the trees and the bushes and the forests. So there's a lot of really cool stuff to look forward to. I am a devout Luna player, and that's my style. When I play, other games like that tempo mid range kind of thing has always been what I like to play. But I don't know. I might be a Terra convert. Terra is going to be really fun. And there are puns and pop culture references abound in set four. So
Ooh.
you think we have a lot now. There's keep your eyes open. There's a lot to discover in set four.
Yeah.
And we say it every set, but I think set four is going to be the best set to date when it comes out. I mean, we really, really work our hardest to one up ourselves every set.
That's absolutely awesome. I'm looking forward to see Terra. I'm in the Discord as a Luna player. I love the mid range kind of aspect of it. When I was playing with Suri from Team Trading Post, who has gone heavy into the game themselves, he immediately fell in love with Luna. Infestation did draw me a little bit more towards Mars because they're kind of doing the mid range thing, but with more. I'm gonna burn everything you're doing, and then devout rather than going. I'm gonna try and stop you whilst also getting devotion. Mars is like, yeah, I'm gonna burn salt, and then also like pee all over your fields so you don't get to have any
Jeez.
crops.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no. So the Meteor faction is very cool. They've got a lot of utility. Um, there's a lot of neat builds right now. Like we just came off of we had SiestaCon, which is in my hometown, and we had an event there. And then the previous weekend we did a 1K event in Miami, or just north of Miami, actually at Tate's, which is an incredible LGS partner of ours. And all already just like talking with people. So the Tate's event was the last event that we did that was only set one and two. So the SiestaCon event last weekend was the first to introduce set three.
ooh,
But talking with people the last couple of weeks in person and them kind of pulling me offside, like, hey, check out this deck that I'm working on right now. It's really exciting. It's cool
yeah,
because, like you said earlier in the interview, there's a lot of factions doing things a bit different right now. So it's refreshing to see. Um, and I think when set four drops, you're gonna have even more of that, plus a whole new faction that does things completely different than the other three. New keywords and mechanics and things like that. Um, yeah, it's a really exciting time, right? Any game you always have this period of um, wonder, as the cards come out and people are like, how can I break this? One thing we try to pride ourselves in is we try to be minimalistic in spoilers. A lot of us are older, late 30s and 40s, on the dev team, and we remember the days of Magic and Pokemon and things like that in their early years, where it's not like you were getting spoilers 6 months in advance. It was like you went down to your local card store, saw people opening packs, and you were trading, and you were looking in the singles case to see what the cards were, or you were getting magazines like Inquest and Scry and things because they would have like a spoiler section. And so, this day and age with all the technology that's out there, not that there's anything wrong with it, we're just trying to do something a little different, whether it's the aesthetic, the colors, right? The 80s and 90s thing. We're doing like comic book style art. Um, bugs, like who's doing bugs. We're trying to do everything different and kind of shake it up while still keeping a traditional sense and identity to a TCG, but doing it a little different.
yeah. It's about the motivation aspect of it. 'Cause you did
Right.
do a preview season, but it was only like 6 to 8 people, and it wasn't anything.
Right.
It wasn't anything major. It was like, here's some things that are going to highlight what's coming in Infestation, but you didn't really like. You didn't go, here's what Lana does. Here's what Morgana does. It was like, here's a dung beetle that poops out lava tokens. Lava tokens are now in the game. It's like, oh, that's really cool. And you've got all these other like reveals. It's like highlighting what the Infestation is going to bring to the game, rather than going, you should buy Infestation to get these cards. Like I said, it was a good middle ground of, we're going to do some reveals, but if you want to know what's in the set, you're going to have to open it.
Yeah. Or we even like, for example, on the website, right? Jay Cyber has done an incredible job with adding new features to the website and updating it. But the reason I mention the website is, if you notice, we usually take the first week or two after a set releases before we upload the, spoiler or the card list to the website, because we want, the community, we want to encourage the community coming together, posting, their polls and their hits, and encourage trading and discussion, because um, we want people to come together and have an experience together, and where they can enjoy somebody doing a box break, or they go down to the LGS with their friends, and they split a booster box, right, and then they're sitting there opening the packs and discovering it together for the first time. And believe it or not, we get a lot of people that reach out to us and they're like, hey, thanks for doing it this way. It's fun to even if they go back home and with their buddies and they order some pizzas and they sit around the kitchen table, like people used to do a long time ago, and open cards together and theory craft and trade and things like that. We we I just can't stress it enough. I hate to sound like a broken record. We just want to make people know that they are heard, and the opening experience and the gameplay experience is the priority.
Yeah,
Want them to have fun.
the booster boxes are designed to be played, which is really really cool. It's one of the first things I noticed because you get your prize pack, you get your token pack, and they come with the cosmic avatars. So it's the boxes are almost designed to be drafted or played with sealed, where you get four people and you just all take six packs and you build a deck. And it's the
Yeah, that's exactly right. It's exactly right. That was always the intention from the beginning. Lewis is really into draft. I mean, I was always more into like sealed and constructed, but Lewis was always a big drafter with games he played, and so right out the gate, he was like, I want to do something a little different. I mean, not that you can't draft other games, right?
no.
But this was like intentional. Like, we're gonna do a token pack, we're gonna do a prize pack, with all the avatars, everything you need, and let's encourage people to draft. And you can drop $100 between 4, 6 players, and and sit down at a table and just have fun for the night, and then have something to show for it afterward.
Exactly. So if you all go in there and go, oh, I'm going to buy six packs, like, well, if we all chip in, we can get a box, and that box will come with a prize pack. We can sit. We can.
Right.
You can make it, like you said. You can even make an evening of it. You can get some friends around to show them the game, and you can be like, let's get some pizza, some beers. Let's just have some fun and make bugs fight, kind of thing. And it goes from being a box opening to a social interaction to actually having fun. And that's what the addition of the prize pack was just gravy on top. Like the fact that you don't need to have the cards, it's all within the box. So even if someone's just picking it up, they go, "Oh, I can actually just play this as it is," and like get people in. It's like those things that show the passion and like the attention to detail you have as a company, because it's going, well, what will our players want to do? How can they expand this game to people that they know and like have fun with their friends? The booster boxes are designed to do that. It's very very cool.
Exactly.
I've kept
Thank
you
you.
here. I've kept you here almost an hour. We've gone over pretty much everything I could want to talk about. Really excited to see if and when events get over here. You've got a very busy organised play schedule coming up over the next few months.
We put in enough hours weekly on shard bugs to that it is a full-time job. But luckily we all have great spouses and families and kids and stuff that are pretty understanding. They understand how much we love what we do, and we try to include them in the whole process. And yeah, I mean, we, like you said, we are wrapping up our tournament season. We have multiple 1K events coming up. We've got Gen Con, as you mentioned. We are going to be at Origins. We have the Pro Play Game Summits. We have one in Orlando coming up. Yeah, I mean, some other ones that I can't talk about. They're top secret right now, but we got a lot of really cool stuff in the pipeline right now. The rest of the Set 3 comic coming out, and yeah, I don't want to get in trouble from the boss man, so I'm not gonna spill any beans. I'll leave that to Lewis. But yeah, we have a lot of really 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 great, exciting things coming up that I think everyone's really gonna love. And anybody ever has questions, we aren't some faceless corporation filled with hundreds of devs. Like I said, there's 6 of us, and we're very active in the Discord. People are welcome to hop in, DM us directly, and we will do our best to respond to everybody in a timely manner.
Yeah,
So that includes you.
yeah.
You have questions, you need anything,
Oh yeah,
you know where I'm at.
yeah. I mean, I generally go through Two Flute because that's who like I've been interacting with. But yeah, I'll reach out. But yeah, whenever I post content, whenever I post my polls or talking there, you always get the purple bug names coming up, getting interacting. You get the laughing reactions, you get the fire and the stuff with the good polls. It's absolutely great to see that you are that passionate about the community, that you're engaging at even the highest levels of the company with the community. Like I said, we're going an hour now. I'll let you get off because you've been sat in a park talking on your phone wearing bug
Hey,
paraphernalia.
it's beautiful out right now. I'm enjoying myself.
Do you have any last things you'd like to say to the community or the people watching this game? Or anything you just want to kind of, or like even a elevator pitch for someone who's watched this video and is considering playing Shadbugs?
Ooh, that's a dangerous thing to ask me because I don't shut up. Obviously, I mean, people watching this are like, "Gosh, this guy just talks." Um, no, I mean, if you are looking for something different, something that's super familiar in its simplicity, but also has a high ceiling of strategy, um, that's not going to break the bank. I like to think we're pretty inexpensive as far as TCGs go. Um, a lot of the meta decks right now are primarily commons and uncommons. I mean, and that's by design. We try to make it accessible. But yeah, if you're looking for something new, you have kids, even young kids. I have an 8-year-old and he loves shard bugs. And, I have a wife that I got her to sit down and play some shard bugs with me. She's never touched a TCG in her life. Um, we have a lot of people that incidentally they walk into an LGS looking for other games and they see us playing. They sit down and 20 minutes later they're shuffling up and playing with us. Like it's very, I think, easy to learn, difficult to master, if that makes sense. You can get as deep into strategy as you want, or you can just play it straightforward and casually. I think we've got something for everybody, and um, yeah, check us out. We have a great learn to play video that was done by Kodak, and then we have some great content that some other people, such as yourself, have done. And we have a lot of those on our website or in our Discord channel. So yeah, check it
Yeah.
out. I don't think you'll be disappointed.
No, like I said, it's easy to learn, easy to get your head around. The cards literally tell you how many of each can go into the decks. That's really easy to go. But for a simple game of get 20 devotion, it gets very deep very quickly.
Yeah, not in a bad way though.
No,
It's
no,
very very simple back and forth. But yeah, I mean, get to 20 and win, or don't and just have fun. We
exactly.
do there's multiplayer formats, and we're also currently developing other formats.
Ooh,
Keep your eyes and ears open for Aftermath. We've been experimenting with that, and a lot of players are loving it. We have some LGSs primarily playing Aftermath right now, but we'll discuss more of that in the future if we decide to make it an official format. But and a lot of people are experimenting and developing their own, and they reach out to us and they're like, "Hey guys, check out this cool thing that we made up, and we're having a lot of fun with." And we listen. We take notes on this stuff. So
yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Like you said, you're a community first kind of game. If the community's found a fun way to play the game, whether it's single turn, PVE, go like 16-person multiplayer, you're willing to like listen and
yeah.
put it under consideration. Thanks for being here. Absolutely love chatting to you. It was great to again experience the passion of the company face to face rather than just on the Discord. And I'm really excited to see where the future of Shadbugs is going.
I appreciate your time and for inviting me to do this, and yeah, I hope to do this again sometime. Thanks for having me.
No, we definitely have to get you back after set 4, or if we get an aftermath announcement before that.
We'll see.